only that stage and in those circumstances that Mr. Matlala attended the event for the limited purpose of collecting his wife. I pause to mention that I also communicated with Sergeant Fanning Kosi and advised that he could convey to Mr. Matlala that he was permitted to attend the residence, given Sergeant Nkosi's close acquaintance with him. Sergeant Nkosi had been assisting me with certain logistical arrangements relating to the event during the course of the day. At the time in question, he was briefly attending to a personal errand. It was in those circumstances that Mr. Matlala attended the residence. His attendance was limited in duration. While he entered the home and briefly socialized, this was incidental to collecting his wife. He remained for no more than approximately an hour before they departed.
Okay. So when you communicate with Sergeant Nkosi to make a turn, you don't say to Sergeant Nkosi, it doesn't indicate to Sergeant Nkosi that you are giving permission to collect his wife or that there's an issue that his wife can't drive or anything like that. Why is that? How are we to interpret that? Because it doesn't sound like somebody who you're saying, you know, you need this permission to come collect your wife because your wife.
No, I wasn't hostile. We were not hostile. There was no hostile relationship between me and Mr. Matala in such a way that I could spell it out in that fashion. To me, remember in that moment, at that time, you didn't know and think of a moment like this one. So it's just something that was happening out of 10.
But why would you then need to, if Mrs. Matlala is there and her friend is there and they say, is it okay? She would like her husband to join. Why do you then need to contact Sergeant Nkosi to ask him to invite Mr. Matlala to make a turn? If all you're doing is saying, yeah, it's fine, if she would like him to join, why not leave it to the wife to communicate with the husband to say, this is where I am?
Remember,
why do you need to contact Sergeant Nkosi to make the arrangement?
Remember that in some instances there's been situations where you find that a wife is invited to a party, but the husband is not necessarily invited to a party. And then the husband cannot just show up because his wife is there. And the fact that maybe also it was to my house and said, look, if it is there, just check with the general whether will he mind or not. But I don't say this is how it happened. But in my case, I was told that Mr. Matlala wants to come and fetch his wife, and so he will be coming down here. I hope you don't mind.
Yes, but that wasn't communicated to you by Mr. Nkosi. That was communicated to you by the people at your house.
Yes.
So once you say to them, I don't mind, why don't you then leave it to them? They can then say, we've spoken to General Sibiya, he's got no problem. And then he comes.
Yes.
Yes.
But I did.
Why did you need to go through Sergeant Nkosi?
Not that I needed to go through Sergeant Nkosi, but at some point I did communicate to Nkosi because I know that he knows Kat, and then I said, no, tell Kat to make house. He mustn't, to make a turn, he mustn't be afraid.
He knows that you know Kat.
We are past that stage. He knows that I know Kat.
Okay. And I'd like to take you just to what Mr. Matlala's version is on this. And that's at file 6. It's also an audio recording. It's the one prior to the one we just listened to. So it's file 6, page 629. Page 629.
629, thank you.
Okay, so, it starts a little earlier. You're free to read from the beginning of the transcript if you wish. It's a discussion about questions regarding Sergeant Nkosi and you. And then it comes round in 629 to the discussion about EFTs, and the male speaker too says he wants something like dates, car that you were using, where's the car, the routes, things like that. Do you see that?
Yes?
Okay. And then 3 lines down, so line 13 on that page, Mr. Matlala says, I was driving a Rolls Royce. I had a Rolls Royce, and then the transcript doesn't capture the rest. And then male speaker 2, what did his son want? And then Mr. Matlala, it was a party, indistinct. When I got to the party, and then indistinct again. And then witness C says, did you withdraw that money? And Mr. Matlala says, yeah, but remember, I will withdraw maybe 500 and then give him 300. Yeah, so I remember, do you want cars or places, etc. So what he was saying here is that he came to the party. He's saying, it seems, that he came in a Rolls Royce, for what that's worth, and that he came with money, but he said, I remember I will withdraw maybe 500 rand. I think he probably means more than just 500 rand.
500,000.
Something like that. And then Mr. Matala also says, I also went to his plot, his townhouse. And then he says, I was driving a Benz. Okay? So that's Mr. Matlala's version from here, just regarding the party. There are other things, but for the moment, what is your response to that?
Chair, I have screenshots of the family group, family meeting, the grouping that we have, and how each one of them were contributing. This one buying this one saying I'll buy this one saying I'll buy the cake, this one I'll bring this, and then I said, okay, I will bring the sped braai. It was just for 20 people. That didn't need even 300,000. My family paid everything 100% for what was going on. So I want to share it, and I want them to also be displayed, because this is a family meeting. I mean, and then I don't know how they can be assisted that they be also shown there. The same way we see this one, let this communication be shown there, because this is what happened.
Well, you just tell us what...
Sorry, Ms. Hassim, I think you referred to 500,000.
500 rand.
500 rand.
Yes.
500 rand, not 500,000 rand.
500 grand is 500,000.
Sorry? Rand.
Oh, 500 rand.
R-A-N-D.
No, we didn't need 500 rand, quite honestly speaking. You remember, it was at a late stage, and it was almost done, basically.
So the audio clip, and we could play the audio clip, Chair, but the audio clip refers to 500,000, and what it's suggesting in the audio clip, the transcript has these indistinct in between, so it's not quite complete. 500,000, suggesting that he takes cash, basically, to General Sibiya.
They talk about 500, actually, I think it's something like 300,000.
You listened to that audio clip, did you?
Yes, I listened as he was testifying, but obviously I know that the evidence leader believes so much in that thing, which
No.
I don't, and it's not, it's not right.
No. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I'm not believing in anything. I'm putting to you the evidence that has been placed before this commission. It's only fair to you that you are given an opportunity to respond to this.
I want to respond.
And a straight answer would be benefit to you.
Chair, I want to respond by showing the group that was created by my wife with the family and kids. Other kids, I've got 6 kids, all of them adults. They are working. And then this one said, this is what I'll do, this is what I'll do, this is what I'll do to support our brother. And here is it. I don't know if I should just read them into the record or just attach them so that they are seen there. And then you can see even the date from 11 September
Chair,
when
can
my
I,
wife started.
sorry, General, let me stop you. I accept your word for it, Chair. I have no problem with that. I can understand that in a family setting, that's how it works. People contribute. But it doesn't answer this question, which is a response to this evidence about Mr. Matlala saying he came to the party and that he came with cash.
You see, Chair, in all fairness, it is important that when the evidence leader tried to demonstrate that Mr. Matala came and he contributed to my son's engagement, then I demonstrate that no. Everything that happened there, we carried as a family. Starting from my wife went with a credit card to Spar to buy the grocery for a small number of people that were there. And then others bought cakes, and then we bought this. We didn't need 300,000. We didn't need money from Mr. Matlala. And I quite honestly speaking, I didn't need it. We didn't need it. We didn't ask for it. And then if it was in a sense that is going to bring that amount of money at that point in time, at that late hour, he would have done it maybe in the early, during the day so that I can use it to spend. But because it was not even, I didn't even invite people. Not even, there was no friend of mine, not even one. So I'm demonstrating here that we paid and we carried the cost, and everything that was there, you can see even yourself that no. Here the family were working together in dealing with this whole thing. So please, this thing of the 300,000, I'm throwing it away. I'm rejecting it right away from the onset.
Okay. I'm not going to, it's still not answering. I didn't put it to you that it was for the purposes of the engagement or for paying for that evening. I don't know what it could have been for. I'm just putting to you what Mr. Matlala says. Right. So to say, well, no, we paid for the engagement, we did it in these various ways, doesn't answer the question directly.
Let's.
But,
Perhaps it does in this sense, and perhaps I'm suggesting that you should move on, Mr.
Yes.
Sim. It answers in the sense that he denies ever having needed the money. And then, of course, he goes on to give the reason as to why he possibly could not have needed it. But part of that says, I did not need it, I did not receive it. So, in a sense, it does answer it. Perhaps,
okay.
yes.
I'm happy to move off this. I think
Yes.
we're not going to get further with this.
Are you
I just
leaving
want
that
to-
topic, Advocate Hassan? I have one question on this topic.
On this, I just want to confirm one thing before you do so, Commissioner Khumalo. Do you confirm that General Shibiri was present at this?
Yes.
Okay. And he was aware that Mr. Matlala was going to be arriving?
I wouldn't say so, because it looked like General Shibiri was arriving from China at that point in time, because when I called him, he just said, I just landed or I arrived, something like that, but he was not around.
Generally, you make all your answers very long. Can you please try to shorten your answers? Because the question is a simple one. Was General Shibiri aware that Mr. Matlala would be there? If you know he was, you say yes, he was. If you don't know, you say I don't know. If you know that he did not know, then you say no.
I really don't know, Chair.
Sorry?
Okay.
I don't know.
Thank you, General.
Thanks. And then...
And, may that request please apply to all your answers. I do know that there are instances where you may want to give an explanation, but it cannot be in respect of all your responses. Thank you, General.
Chair, I have a question to ask.
Yes.
What is the status of this witness's statement? What is its status? Is it a confession? Is it an admission? Or is it was just an interrogation? Because I'm being asked on something that could have been obtained unlawfully as well, or like as determined by Mr. Matala as being AI generated and say, I deny this and I deny this and I never said this, or the circumstances under which this statement was undertaken, where they went and booked him and then spent 5 hours with him interrogating him. Now, whatever they said about me, because they want me, now I'm responding to the statement that were made by the sergeants, when in fact they are talking about a confession that was obtained by Mr. Matala that was supposed to have been, they are junior officials, they are sergeants. They were supposed to, when a person begin to make an unequivocal statement that if it were to be made in court would amount to a plea of guilty or a confession or an admission, then which means then there are certain procedures that needs to be followed. And in this regard, we're talking about a statement where people just called, went to book a person out, sat with a person out for six hours and saying it was an informal decision. It was an informal discussion. And then as a result, I just want to be assisted. Where do we position this thing? Was it an admission made by Mr. Matala? Admitted? Is it admitted? Was it a confession? Or, because I'm now, why I'm worried is the fact that I know the status of PKTT in terms of so badly wanting to get hold of me, considering the fact that they have been to Mr. Matala many times, even in jail, and saying to him, give us Sibiya, we'll take you out, we'll leave you out. We are prepared to even leave that case of Ms. Tobejani as long as you give us Sibiya. Work with us. Now, I'm in this situation now where now I'm being questioned on the statement that were obtained by PKTT junior members, say this is what Matala told us. Whether I was being assaulted or what under duress, I don't know. But I'm just worried about the fact that I'm responding to a statement that I don't know what its real status is in front of the commissioners.
Ms. Hassan?
General,